Hello again. This is the last poem that we're going to read for this section of World War I poetry. This is called The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. And it was written towards the end of World War I. And William Butler Yeats was a very young man when he died. He was in his 20s. And he saw the ravages of war, of a world war. This First World War at the time that was called the Great War. And again, I ask you to look for the higher level thinking ideas here and the poetic devices that are larger ones like symbols and allusion and the higher level images like metaphors and similes, etc. And the very, very strict form that he used. He was one of the romantic poets, and romantic, of course, doesn't mean love. It means it has a whole list of things that are used to describe it. And if you want to look up the ingredients for romantic poetry, you can look for them. So here's The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle, and what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Okay, pretty heavy, heavy words. But he was influenced by the results and the effects of World War I and the things that he saw in his friends that came back from war and the politics of war and how dehumanizing war had become. The allusions here, which are poetic devices, an allusion, Allusion, is a is a poetic device that's used to compare or to use one work of literature or poetry in another work of literature or poetry. And in this one, the major allusion is one to the Bible, another written work. So the poet here refers to the Bible in his own work. And that's what the second coming is about. And so if you understand what the second coming from the Bible is about, the Christian Bible, if you look it up as a point of reference, you'll be better able to understand what's going on here in this poem. If you need help deconstructing or finding out what these things are, find one of us in the room and we'll help you out. And then head on to the next challenge. And this is the last poem of our unit, of our module, of our semester on World War I poetry and literature. Please don't forget to try and compare this to All Quiet on the Western Front.